Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Unfiltered, and this is our Mother's Day edition. As you can see, we have three guests with us, two handsome gentlemen and one beautiful lady. So before we dive into it, I'll just introduce you to the guy on my right. This is my handsome husband, Nigel.
All right, so I'm just going to let this guy introduce himself. So welcome, husband.
Hi, I'm Marlon Roden, husband to Carrie Ann Roden.
To my left, this is my wife.
Hi everyone, I'm Sanisha Bryson Brown.
Okay, guys, so we're just gonna run with it right now. So my first question is, did you guys always wanted to be a mom?
Lennox, did you always wanted to be a mom?
I think that's a question for Carrie and Sanisha.
All right, so because we're doing our Mother's Day special, all right, so did I always wanted to be a mom? No. I did not always want to be a mother. And the truth is, I remember, I think you go through those process of when you're, getting older, you're like, oh, okay, obviously that's kind of in the cards, if it's in the cards for me. But I think when I actually got married and it came up in the sense of I had a doctor's appointment and the doctor said, oh, if you're thinking of having children, you should start thinking now or, at least start planning now. And I remember saying to the doctor, I'm like, yeah, no, I'm good. And I don't even know why I said that. And then I remember telling my mom the situation, and she was just like, and I was just like, yeah, so I don't think I'm going to have any kids. And she was just like, why? What did I do to you? Like, why? And then it was so funny because it's just one of those thoughts that I didn't really dive into. So I guess it's a no. I didn't really see myself as a mom. Sometimes I still don't even see myself as a mom. I don't know. Sometimes it's still very weird to me. So it's a no for me. Danny?
I'm different. I'm the total opposite. I always saw myself as a mom. I originally saw myself as a mom of 3, but now I'm good with 2. Thank you, Jesus. So I'm good with 2 from ever since I was a child. I guess it's just how I was brought up to believe that there's just certain stages in life and motherhood was a part of it. So I always wanted it and I always opened my arms to the idea of being a mom.
Okay, so for me, no, I didn't always wanted to be a mom. My main reason was my mom had me when she was 15 years old. So, and also she became a single mother when I was 2. And then when she had my brother about 17 years later, she became a single mom when my brother was 2 again because my brother's dad passed away. So I definitely knew this was not what I wanted. But yes, so for me, but as I got older, I love kids. And no matter how I try to run away from them, they always try to find me. So eventually in the back of my mind, if I get married and if it happens, it happens. But I personally know that I do not want to have a lot of children. One is where I'm at.
So you said 1 is enough. I know you guys have 2 kids.
Yes, we do.
The last conversation I had with my friend, maybe a couple months or sometime last year at the marriage retreat, he wanted another baby. So what happened there? How come were we stuck on 2?
I'm good with 2. My quiver is full.
I am open to the idea of a 3rd child, but because of how rough pregnancy was on her body and all that she went through, I'm not going to force the issue. So, she wants to just leave it at 2. Even though I'm open to the idea, I'm still, I'm more so concerned with what she wants rather than what I want. But hopefully, maybe, just maybe, her mind will change. The other day I was like, well, babe, you think you should probably have 1? She said, listen, Lennox, no. What if I want another one? then you must know where you're gonna go and get it from. But you know, I'm okay, you know, with her decision. For now.
But he's still sliding little bits in there. Like he's still.
No,
yeah.
for me, with what she went through with her pregnancy, because it was a really difficult pregnancy, and all the scares that we got from it, one's good. I'd like to have a girl. I've always wanted a little girl.
I see that face.
Yeah, I know. But I'm more than willing to adopt,
Yeah.
at my age, another child, like my son. Two of them? No. I don't think I can handle two of them.
But bro, you're not even that old though. But you're not even that old though, you know.
Bro.
And you're not doing all the work. I'm just saying.
This is true. That's true. That's true.
Men are never that old. Robert De Niro is 78 and he just had a baby, or they just had a baby. So you still have time. You still have time. There's no age for men on. And again,
Childbearing.
women, because we do all the work. I'm just gonna say it. We do all the work. So what? You guys don't agree?
Yeah, I'm just asking though, like for you, are you done?
I'm so.
Yes.
We're done.
That's a joint answer.
The church is on one accord over there.
Amen. Amen. We're completely done. Thankfully for Carrie, I know she can probably speak for herself, but pregnancy, I think both were probably easy, okay. We even traveled during the last part of your first pregnancy for my birthday, which was pretty cool. And I'm just thankful that she's had a good experience in pregnancy, and we were able to experience that in a positive way.
So, like, I'll just tell you a quick story. So, my wife, she's having a second child, LJ, and she's in the operating room, and it's a C-section, and I'm right there holding her hand, and the doctor delivered the baby safely, had the baby in his hand, and you know, he came around the screen, because there was a screen there, and the doctor came with LJ in his hand, and like, look, mom, look, dad, your baby boy. I was like, and he gave me the baby, and I had the baby in my hand. I was like, Sonny, look at our baby. Sonny, look at the baby and look at me. Look at the baby, look at me. Sonny said, babe, no more, please, no more.
That's literally the first thing I said. I said, Lennox, no more, please, no more. Wow. I said that, and then I said, thank you, Jesus. That was the first thing that came out of my mouth. It can be a very traumatic experience, having a C-section.
Yes.
Yes. So for me, I didn't want to put myself in that position again. I didn't like how helpless I felt afterwards.
Yes.
You can't move, you can't do anything on your own. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for me, it was terrifying.
Well, I was right there with you, though.
Yeah, but it was still terrifying for me.
Of course, for us moms, for our first daughter, we had an emergency C-section, and we just remember like the doctors just like, we gotta go, we gotta go, we gotta go. And you know, I know a lot of moms out there can relate who has been through this type of situation, because once you get to the hospital room, anything can happen, right?
Yeah.
And I remember us having to go through that. And Merlin just had to change quickly. My mom and I think Althea, they were all at the hospital. They left to go get coffee, and by the time they got back, the room was empty. All they saw was just strings hanging, because they left me like perfectly just chilling.
Fine.
And by the time they got back, the room was empty. They almost died, because they had no idea what happened, right? So those situations, and I remember just us going into the emerge and just, you know, going through all of that. And I'm like to him, I'm like, I hope you're praying. I hope you're praying. Marlon, you better start praying. Like, because we had no idea what was about to happen.
Yeah.
Like, it is a scary, scary situation. So, yeah, but I don't know.
So wait, okay, so you've gone through a C-section.
Yep.
She's gone through a C-section.
I've gone
That's
through
right,
2
he's gone through-
C-sections.
2 C-sections?
Yes.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so
All hail to the C-section moms out there.
okay, so how traumatic was it for you guys after the C-section, you brought the child home? Because she couldn't move around, she couldn't do much of anything, right?
I'm a bounce back queen. I don't know. like a couple days in, I was trying to go up the stairs, and everybody's like, "You can't do that," you know. "You just did this. You went through that. You can't do that." So I was doing that one step, next step, other step, going up the stairs and everything. Like it's so funny. I don't know. It was just very, very, very different for me. So as traumatic as the experience itself was, when I got home, I think I was like, they were like forcing me to relax. Yeah, because I didn't feel, I know a lot of women feel like a lot of pain, like after, and just can't move. And for me, it was different. I don't remember feeling that overwhelmed about it.
Okay.
So
I was overwhelmed. I felt all the pains. I felt everything. And then I have keloid skin, so it didn't heal properly. Yeah, on both occasions, it didn't. It's still not healed well. And I remember when I was even in the operating room, you know Lennox, he's a jokester. So he's there, he's looking. They have this panel blocking me from my lower body. He's looking, and then he's looking at me. He's looking, and then at one point he said, "Sunny, I can see your organs." And I was like, "God, please, just hurry up, God, please." Yeah, I hated the experience. Yeah, but he loves it. He was always fascinated with the process and just fascinated with everything. Oh.
No, not for me. No, see, they brought her in, they gave her the needle, they cut her open. I'm like, okay, let me take a look. And the nurse is blocking my entire view. I couldn't even see anything. The doctors were sitting there going, "So what are you doing on vacation?" And they're working on her, taking my son out, and they're like, "Yeah, you know, I'm thinking of going to Tahiti." I'm just like, aren't you guys doing something?
Like, I was like just joking around. I was like, "Babe, I know you inside out."
So for me, my experience was very horrible. A lot of people didn't know because I didn't speak about it. So after they took Grayson out, I was there and I felt like it was forever. I could not hear a sound. Because, you know, after they take out the baby, they're going to do all the checks to ensure that the baby is fine, take out the mucus out of his mouth, nose, or whatever. And I'm there, and to me, it's like an eternity. And I'm thinking, in the doctor movies, by now the baby is supposed to be making some form of sound to say, "Okay, I'm well, I'm here." It took a while, and then once everything was done, they put me in my room. Then I think it was the same night. My pressure just kept going. It was not, my pressure was just sky high, and they were watching me for preeclampsia. And then the baby had jaundice. It was so high that the doctor was like, "Listen, we gotta do blood transfusion. We have to send this kid to sick." And I'm thinking, okay. And I'm thinking, Lord, after all me and this kid has been through during my pregnancy, I cannot deal with this right now. And I remember I started praying. Nigel texted, pastor and the pastor from his church as well, and they prayed and stuff, but it was really bad. We didn't even really express exactly to the extent of which the situation was bad. I didn't get the chance to hold my baby because he had to go in the NICU, and where the NICU is from where my room was, I was relentless. They're saying, "Mom, you have to," because now I have fibroids. I have pain everywhere. I have keloid skin just like you. I had high blood pressure. I could not sleep. There's no baby beside me. Every minute they're poking me because they're trying to figure out, why is your blood pressure not going down? Why is it not normal? And I remember they said to me, "Okay, you had the C-section, so now you're gonna have to walk because you don't want to seize up. You have to exercise." And I decided that I am going to walk. They said, "You know what? We can wheel you to go around to check the baby." And believe you me,
it was
as
not
night is day and day is night, I am going there, and I sat there and I looked at the baby. I bawled, I prayed, I cried, I pushed, and then now, and that is why the baby decided that he didn't want breast milk.
Oh my!
Because he got used, because he was in the incubator for such a while that he got severely burnt.
Wow.
And
so,
stuff like
Corinne, and moms, I guess we can say this. For everything that we've been through, how do you all feel about being a parent? Like, what is that feeling that you have now that we've been through it? We've told our stories. How do we now feel, especially when these little brats be giving us so much trouble? What is that feeling that you have being a parent now?
So for me, it really goes back to, when we were talking about our experiences at the hospital, I reflected on my mother's experience. Because my mom had me when she was 15. I had my
Yes.
first and only child when I was twice her age.
Yes.
And her experience in comparison to mine, I'm an adult. She was a teenager. Her experience was very rough. It was challenging. It was just being at the hospital alone. She was stigmatized for just being at the hospital. How
Yeah.
dare you come up in here wanting to have a child and you're a child? She was mistreated. She wasn't treated nicely. My mom could have lost her life having me at the hospital.
Yeah.
And you guys can back me up if I'm correctly. It is a system that we have in our Jamaican system where once you as a teenager, you go to the hospital to have a child. I think sometimes they believe that it is their way of punishing you because you should not be here.
To
You
ensure that
should-
you don't do it
to
again.
ensure that you don't do it again.
Yes.
But at the same time, you have made a vow as a healthcare practitioner to ensure that whoever comes in contact with you, you're going to give them the best care possible. So when I look at it, I try to think of my mom when I feel like I'm not doing enough, because I have my days. I had to do counseling.
We all have our
And
days.
listen,
We all
I
have
felt like
our
I was
days.
going to
Yeah,
lose my mind
definitely.
half the time. I don't think I'm doing it right. I don't think I'm doing enough, because especially as the child gets older, because my child is very vocal.
Yes.
He will speak his mind. We encourage him to speak his mind. We facilitate that. But there are times when I really want to, like, I think I'm going to have split ends.
Yes. Sandy, what about you? How do you feel about being a parent? And
I love being a parent because, as I said before, it's something that I always wanted, but it is a learning experience.
consistent.
Right. Every day is a learning experience. This is a person that you are now in charge of. Not only their well-being, their welfare, not only feeding them, but also helping them to make the right decisions as they grow older.
Yeah.
So it's not just about now, it's also about the person that you want them to be in the future. So it's a lot to have in your hands,
Yeah.
and I view it as a gift because I know even though at times it can be hard, it can be hectic, it's also rewarding, and it's also a reminder that God gave me these two
These two,
gifts.
yeah,
yeah.
that's- yeah,
It's
that's
hard, but
yeah.
God gave me these two gifts.
Yeah, definitely is. And it's so funny because, as we go through motherhood, my daughter is 9. And it's so funny because there are certain times that I honestly feel like I'm still as great as, you get the compliments and people say, your daughter is so beautiful,
nice.
your children is so nice, you're doing such a good job. And I tell you, in the back of my head, I'm just like, I don't know if I'm doing a good job. Sometimes I don't feel like I'm doing a good job because sometimes I feel like I'm expecting, like especially Malia, because Cameron's not fully there yet. He's only 3. But sometimes I look at like my husband and I'm like, he's so smart. And some of my fears, I'm like, I don't want Malia to get my smart. Because I just like, I know. And so sometimes I feel like, okay, am I doing a good job as a mom? Am I doing it right the way that maybe his mom did it? Or, you have those kind of stigma that you're feeling like, okay, I don't know if I'm doing a good job. I mean, they're alive. I'm keeping them alive. I'm keeping them fed, keeping them clothed and sheltered. But Lord have mercy, help me, Jesus. I don't know if the rest of it is going okay. Babe, do you think I'm doing a good job?
You're doing an excellent job. I think we have to model for our children, because one of the things that I was surprised about a couple of weeks ago, sorry, I'm using the mic, Malia had a school project and came home with a written piece, and she talked about her favorite role model, and her favorite role model was her mom. And I think in those types of small things, it shows you that the child is seeing something. And I'm always mindful of what I do, no matter what it is in our home. I want to be a model for the children, and I think Carrie Ann's an excellent example of that. She really sets out a balance and allows for the kids to have both sides. And I think it's not just academic or athletic or whatever, and I don't want to project anything on them because I want them to have their own talents and skills and be able to discover that. But at the end of the day, I think what we have to to think about as parents is how we're conducting ourselves in our own home.
One thing I think is absolutely critical, though, is what Sanisha mentioned, that it's a learning process, and you have to know that in learning, you're learning, your child is learning, and they are learning on or at a different pace. Like for me, I used to think that, oh, I suck as a dad, I'm not doing good, I'm not doing a good job, just because my sister, my older sister, her daughter started to read or identifying words at 2 years old. And I'm thinking that
we're behind.
Yeah, my
yes.
child should be reading at 2 years old too, but
Yeah.
it's not so, because each child develops at their own
yeah.
pace. You know, so it's important to understand the underlying foundation, what makes a good parent. Being a good role model, as you mentioned,
Yeah.
instilling good morals, you know, leading and directing your child to know right from wrong, you know, and all the other things, I think they're critical just the same, but they'll fall into place. And it's never good to use somebody else as a measuring stick
Yeah,
for
definitely.
you and your household.
Yeah, definitely.
No,
Definitely.
I agree with that. But I mean, for me, a lot of my parenting mannerisms had come from what I saw how my mom treated me when I was a little kid. I mean, my mom had me, well, she's passed now, but she had me when she was older, so I had the same sort of footsteps. And it was, my mom never once told me that I wasn't able to do anything. I mean, I didn't start reading till I was 8, as an example, right? I was a late bloomer for a lot of stuff. Math wasn't my strong suit. I had help with math, but my mom was always there saying, hey, you can do it, you know, take it one step at a time, you know. So, I mean, I've passed that on to my son. And I mean, my son comes running to me, he's like, Daddy, where were you? Why did you leave me? You know, all these little things. And I've always, you know, I mean, there are times where you're going to get angry at your child because they've done something that you're like,
Yes.
oh my God, you could have hurt yourself. But it's never been a time where I've gone and told Grayson, you can't do something, right? I mean, he goes
Yeah.
and he builds these structures out of Lego, and I'm sitting there like, when I was your age, I
wasn't
couldn't
doing
do those
any of
things.
that.
So,
That's beautiful. So for us as moms, I know that we're always juggling. We're always juggling. And, you know, I know for some of us, we might have that extra help. And I remember when when I got pregnant and everything like that, and, you know, you're going through the different things. And one of the things that I look back when we were about to talk about this topic, I look back and I started laughing about, like, all the different little, what do you call them now? For Jamaicans, we call them, what is it now?
Nuggets?
The little nuggets, let's put them, the little nuggets that we get from our moms. And because we know our moms did such a great job, and, you know, and then we go back to the, can I be as good as my mom? Or, you know, the different little things that my mom used to do versus what I would now do as a parent, and the things that I feel like, my mom did that, but I'm not gonna do that. Like, you know, so we went through, like, I think for me, I went through, like, all of that, like, preparing to be a mother. I just, you know, because in Jamaica, we're so superstitious about a lot of things, no matter how safe or Christian we are. Like, I was saying to somebody the other day, and people laugh at me now. When I had my kids and they had the hiccups, I'd find that little thread on my
Put
clothes.
it on their forehead.
Don't laugh at me, Lennox.
And I would slowly remove it.
Like up until like a few, like maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, my mother-in-law came, and my mother-in-law did that, and I was like, this is like the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Oh my goodness.
So wait, did you know about the thread on the forehead if the baby has a hiccup?
No, so I picked up my phone
Moms, Jamaican moms, help me out here. Tell me it didn't work. It worked for me.
Yeah, so I picked up the phone and I called my mom. I was like, Mom, my mother-in-law did this. That's like the dumbest thing. I've ever, my mom said, what's dumb about it? No. No.
Thank you, Mama Brown. Thank you for that. Yeah, exactly.
No, Crean's done that, and I'm sitting there now because I never grew up in Jamaica. I grew up here, right? So Crean put the little red string on Grayson's head. He's got hiccups, and I'm sitting there going, no.
Let me
How did
clarify.
this drink
Let
take
me
away the
clarify. My grandmother, she decided that, and to give her peace of mind, I decided, because while she's telling me to do it, I'm telling her that I don't believe in this, but to keep her satisfied, I just did it. And as we're talking about, you mentioned your mother-in-law, I started to reflect on my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law had all these plans before we even wanted to have kids. So, God always do things in his own time, and sometimes we don't understand. When I came to Canada, the first thing my mother-in-law showed me was, she showed me a suitcase in a room upstairs, and she's like, these are all the things that I've knitted for the baby. I'm like, in my mind, baby, I'm not even ready for this baby she's talking about yet. And she made all my stuff. Lo and behold, my mother-in-law took sick where she had dementia and Alzheimer's. It was very difficult for me because we had all these plans that when I'm pregnant, she's going to do this. And she was very loving, motherly. And my mother and my grandmother and my aunt, they felt safe enough knowing that I'm in a safe environment because of the type of, you know my mother, a very beautiful lady inside and out. I love her. She was so precious to me. And I remember when I was pregnant, sometimes I wondered if one time she said to me, then who you be again? And then she was looking at me, and then she's like, oh my God, no, my daughter-in-law, how could I forget? Gosh. And I'm like, and she said to me, so who trouble you? Who trouble me? You know what that means in Jamaican terms. So I say, your son? She said, Papa, she said, Lord of mercy, my son. My son trouble you.
Yes. Rest in peace to Sister Myers. We had the opportunity of engaging with her. And when she found out that I was pregnant, she knitted us a blanket too. So we still have, she's such a beautiful lady. So we still have that blanket that that was one thing we just never gave away. So we definitely have that blanket from Sister Myers. So shout out to your mom. I know, she passed, and rest in peace to her, but she was definitely a beautiful, beautiful soul. And I'm glad that you were able to experience some of that. Some of us are still fortunate to have our mother-in-laws and the help. I definitely got a lot of help, especially with Malia from my mother-in-law. And we have a great relationship, I would say, right? Yeah, we definitely have a great relationship. But we parent differently, right? And at the end of the day, as we would say, everybody has their own way of doing things and so on. So I parent differently from my mom. I parent differently from his mom. I know sometimes my mom is like dying. When my kids do things, she's dying because she wants to be like, whoop the child or, whatever. And she's just like, I don't know how you guys do this. You guys need to make sure that Malia is behaving, so that's her new age of discipline. But at the end of the day, when I was a kid, she used to lay it on me and make sure that I was in the right spot, I was doing the right thing. But it's so funny now when we see our parents become grandparents, our moms become grandmother, it is definitely different. So I'm gonna ask the guys, from your experience, seeing your mom becoming grandparents and how they react differently. So Marla, we can start with you.
Yeah, for both my parents and my mom in particular, it was like somebody I didn't even know when my kids were born. In particular, Malia. There are things that she would do. Or just, dessert during dinner, those types of things that I could never get away with, she would allow with Malia. But I love the structure and the way that my mom brought us up And she still reminds me to this day, you know, you need to make sure that the kids are in these activities and keep them busy and ensure that they have all, you know, all the things that we had. And I think that's important. And there are things, of course, that my mom and dad, you know, did for us that I may not necessarily do for our kids, but at the end of the day, I think they were a strong support for me and especially Carrie Ann during pregnancy. And I absolutely appreciate my parents and love how they interact with their grandkids.
Yeah, definitely. It's a little different for me because my mom wasn't fully there mentally when Grayson was born, but I've got a picture of her where she's holding Grayson where he's like, I think he's about like a couple of months old, and you can just see the smile on her face. So you knew that she knew. And then later towards the end, Grayson used to come in when the aides came to help her and watch them raise the bed, lower the bed, raise the bed, because she was in a hospital bed that we had brought into the house. So when they were gone, you know, we're like, okay, wait, where's this little kid? Where is he? And you would hear my mom going, and we're all like, what's going on? And you walk into the room and you peek in, there's Grayson raising the bed, lowering the bed, and my mom's going, and then, you know, you'd run over and like, Grayson, stop, and then she would just turn her head and she'd smile. And you'd know, like, she's like, okay, it's not comfortable, but he's my grandson. So, you know, I feel my mom was happy to get to see all of her grandkids, at least, and at least get to see my son before she passed.
Yeah, that's good.
Where to begin with the lovely Mother Brown? I think my mom has not changed much. She was a strong disciplinarian when I was a child, and I find that she still exhibits those traits now as a grandmother. Like, for example, when just before she came up with us here in Canada, we had a little bit of problem controlling LJ because he was more expressive than Savani. He's more, you know, outgoing, and he, you know, if he's thinking something, you're gonna know, you know. Even if he cannot say it, trust me, he's gonna act it out. So like he'll want formula, like, Daddy, Mommy, formula now, formula. And we could never get him to say formula, please. Like, formula,
It's a second child thing.
Yeah.
I hope I hear you.
We could never get him to say formula, please. And once my mother is here, and I notice it's something with grandmothers. Once my mother is here, I was shocked. I left for work, like maybe the first day. And he would show like temper tantrums, like throw himself on the ground and jump. I want. And I left for work and I came back and I was shocked. My son was well behaved. You want for?
She got him under manners, as they say.
He was like, Grandma, her formula, please. I was like, what did you do to my son? But you know, it goes to the heart of what we have been talking about so far. It's like a mother knows.
Yes.
You know, and it's the same thing, Kerry, when you're a grandmother one day. It's the same thing, Kerry, when you're a grandmother one day, where something that your child might not understand and know how to do, you're going to be able to just get your grandchild to comply or to do something, and your child is going to be asking you, how did you do that?
Even for eating, because we have very picky eaters, and I tell you no lie, when my mother-in-law shows up, she'll just make them all these different types of stuff, and they'll just sit there and eat it, and I'm like, seriously? Y'all just put me to shame? Because I'm just like, well, I don't think Cameron's going to eat that. I don't think Malia's going to eat that. And then they had the nerve to turn around and say, Nana, can I have more, please? Like, seriously? Like, come on. And they make us feel like we're feeding them because now that Nana comes in, Grandma is here, it's all different. Like, the only thing my daughter does not like her Nana to make her is fried egg. She's not for it. I don't know what's wrong with Nana's fried eggs, but Malia just be like, Mommy, can you make it? That is the one thing.
Yeah.
Otherwise, from that, I don't have to give her
Carrie,
anything. Nana is
like,
there.
Carrie, I love having my mother-in-law and my mom around.
Yeah.
But I don't like having them around at the same time because I feel like a bad parent when they're around. Because what I can't get my kids to do, they get my kids to do.
Yeah, and that's when those things creep in, right? Where you're just like, was I really doing it wrong? Like, how did they get my kid to eat so much vegetables? Like,
Sometimes I think we need to give ourselves more grace.
Yes.
What grandparents and great-grandparents do, they have years of experience.
True.
And we're new at this thing. So they have years. They know what to do, when to do it, how to get things done, how to get it out of it. We're learning, and we're going to get there. Yeah.
Exactly. We're still learning. It's
My
a
mother-in-law,
learning process.
My mother-in-law doesn't live with us. And there are times where my son's like tearing up the house, and I'm just like, I'm done. I can't do anything. I can't do this. Call my mother-in-law. It's like he's in the military. He's like boom, and it's like, yes, Nana, yes, Nana. I mean, that's one of the things I'm grateful with my mother-in-law.
Yes.
Because there are times where I was like, what do I do? How do I fix this? What's wrong with my child?
Yeah,
and
nothing's wrong with the child.
She's there as, she's not a replacement for my mom, but it's at least I have someone I can lean on.
Yes.
And ask like 1,001 questions. She's like, no, that's fine, that's normal. Don't worry.
Yeah.
You're doing it all right.
Yeah, my mom. I remember when, I think maybe even Malia or Cameron, when they weren't like walking. I remember my mom called, forgive me, Mommy, if you're watching. And she would be like, oh, so they're not or she's not walking. She's like, let me tell you something. You see, when it was time for you to walk, I put you there and I said, you're going to walk tonight. She was like, the whole day, the entire night, she was just like, you're walking. Everybody else is walking. You're walking tonight. Why are you not walking? Let me tell you how I walked that night, eh? I probably should have just walked out and go somewhere else. I walked that night, and she's so proud of that story that she made me walk when she told me that. And our kids nowadays, I'm just like, we're very modern parents. We're just like, they'll walk when they're ready. Time. They'll walk on time. But Jamaican parents, there's no such thing as on time or their time. It's now or never. Like, I'm not picking you up, so you need to learn to walk. Like,
but to that point, I think grandparents, they are more fearless. Like, with my child, I'll hold him. To your story, I want him to walk. I'll hold him. Hold his hand, and 1 step, 2 step. My mother will just take him and just leave him there. Mommy's gonna fall. No, children, they have to fall. That's how they learn. It's like they're more.
The parenting is different. Yeah.
Well, back to what your wife said, they've got the experience. But then there's also the fact that, you know what? When I'm done with them, you go back to your parents.
Oh, yeah.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like, oh, you know what? I'm done. It's over. Your parents can take over for now.
Yeah.
And then you're just left with like, what now? Why?
Sandy, how did your relationship, do you feel like, based on the relationship that you had with your mom and before you became a parent, how do you feel like that relationship changed? Did it get better or?
My relationship with my mother got better because I finally understood what she really went through. As a child, sometimes when you're growing, you take certain things for granted. You don't understand sacrifices. You just believe that things are how they are. You wake up to breakfast, you get your lunch, you get your dinner. You don't know that there's hard work and sacrifices going on behind the scenes. And now that I'm living it and seeing it, I remember one time I said to Mommy, how you did make it look so easy?
Yeah.
Because, when life gets to you and you realize that you have to juggle many things and sometimes there are many obstacles and many negative things going on at the same time, many issues. You're like, God, when I was younger, it was just one thing at a time, and now it's like so many things going on. But you get to understand that is life. And I appreciate her so much more because she did all that she did with my dad. I grew up in a two-parent home. So it was difficult, but I've learned to appreciate all that she did. Yeah, because now that I'm going through it, I can see that she did a lot.
Yeah.
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 So for me, like, I knew of some of the situations that my mom went through because, as I told you guys before, my mom had me when she was 15. Then she had my brother when I was almost leaving high school. And then she became a single parent. One, because she was escaping an abusive relationship. And as a result of that, she was threatened that if you don't stay, and if you go, then you're going to have to take care of this kid. And that's what happened. And the other one, because my stepdad passed away. I have a different level of respect for my mother. There is nothing, and my mother knows that without a doubt. I know you're watching. There is nothing my mother can or could ever possibly do for me to disrespect her. Nothing, because when I think about the sacrifice of moving to a different country, and I'm going to cry. I really honor my mother, and I'm thankful that my mother had a community that she could leave me with, like my grandmother.
Yeah.
And they never, ever allow me to think that my mother was ever, even though she was physically absent, she was always there. And my grandmother always encouraged me that I have to, if you want to live long, you have to honor your mother. And I honor and I respect my mother. There is nothing, the only thing is for me to be rich at this point and to give her half of what I have. But I respect my mother. I respect her integrity, her character. My mother is very blunt, very honest. My husband can tell you, she's very strict. So my mother is not the one, like, if I'm having a problem with Nigel, I can go to her house. Oh, no. She counting down, you need to go to your husband. She's very, so she is that kind of mother. She don't keep up foolishness. She has no tolerance for it. And my mother saved my life during and after my pregnancy. A lot of people don't know what I've been through. I've hid it from a lot of people. I remember when I was going through counseling, and I remember she asked me, "Who is your mother to you?" And I said to her, "My mother is my life." And she said to me, "You're going to dig deep, and you're going to remember who she is. And because of who she is, that's who you are, because that's where you're from." And literally, when I think about the things my mother endured, I had no other choice. I have to figure out a way to get out of this dark place that I was at. And every time I think about it, my mother saved my life. That is what my mother means to me. She saved my life. And I don't think she understood, because even when I was pregnant, I hid away from my family because the prepartum was so bad.
Or the depression that came after having a child.
Before, I had it for 3.5 years. And it was so bad that I hid from my mother. I hid from my grandmother. Everybody calling. Once the phone rings, it's like a time bomb went off in my head. And I could not understand. And when I spoke to my doctor, and she said, "You have to go on medication." I went on medication, and you have to go to counseling. And that's when I started to dig up a lot of stuff. And then I realized that my mother did this as a teenager. She have the guts to fight. I am from her. I can fight. And I decided I'm a fighter. And my mother was always there. And I can just imagine. Can you imagine? You're in a different country. Your first child is going through so much, and you cannot be there. And every time I think about it, I feel guilty. And I know my mother would not want that, but that's how I feel. And I'm like, oh my God, know that I am a mother. Imagine Grayson having a child. And his wife going through that. Or if I had a daughter, how would I feel? You're trying to reach out, you're trying to connect. There is no connection. You hear from your son-in-law, but it's not the same. And I felt so bad at times, but I'm happy that she always stayed true to who she is. She's a mother from she was a child until she's an adult. She's still a mother. Sometimes I think I'm too old to bring her, because I internalize a lot of things. You know, I was having this conversation with my mom, and I said to her, my mom was always somebody who communicated with me from I was a child. So when my mom lived in a different country, my grandmother, they weren't like that. They will talk, but they don't, and that's different, and that's fine because that's how they were raised. So because my mom wasn't physically there, I internalized a lot of things. A lot of things. And I was saying to her, I'm learning not, because during my pregnancy, I'm thinking, okay, my mother has been a mother all her life. I'm old enough. Why should I bring all my problem to her? She's had enough. And so I was explaining to her, that's how I felt at the time. And she was like, what are you talking about? I'm your mom. What do you mean?
Anything.
Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about mothers.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have to be so grateful for our mothers. And as much as myself, I'm a mom, but when I look back and think about my mother, I am so grateful. You have to be grateful because, one, they made that decision to keep you. They didn't have to, right? They didn't have to. They made that decision, and my mom, you know, she made that decision. And at the end of the day, for me, I can say my mom was a single mom, right? I didn't grow up in a two-parent household. My mother was a single mom, and she raised us. She raised me, and, you know, eventually she got, you know, she was in a serious relationship with my brothers. But at the end of the day, as you said, when we think back about our mothers and just that appreciation, that we have to show them love, we have to show them respect because they've always been there. Whether they were physically there, they were always there. No matter what we needed, no matter what my brothers and I needed, she was always there. And sometimes they might not feel because we may stray out from the path a little bit and we may not show them the love, which we should. We may not show them the love that they know that they deserve. But at the end of the day, I am so grateful for my mother because without my mother, the wisdom, the knowledge, the understanding, just the woman that I became, and the mother that I became is because of my mother. I watch and I think back about the things that, that she taught me or the things that she guided me through or everything like that. And I think back and I said, okay, well, definitely, I'm gonna steal some of these, these qualities that I see in my mother. And we have to appreciate our mothers. And as much as we are standing here grown and being moms ourselves, listen, I need my mother. I can pick up the phone and call her and just be like, Mommy, this is what's up. This is what I need. And wherever she will have to find it, and to think that we're grown women now, but to know that they still have our backs, that tells me that we're going to have our kids back no matter what. We will never just leave them astray, you know what I mean? Because that's what our mom's been to us. So at the end of the day, we have to just show love and respect for our moms because they've literally been that backbone. My mom has literally been that backbone for me. So at the end of the day, I love you, Miss Edith. Love you, love you, love you, and truly, truly appreciate you. So yeah, big up to our moms.
Well, you know something, Carrie, when I listen to you, I listen to Karina, I listen to my wife. It's like the definition of a mother is just one word. Sacrifice. Sacrifice. There's so much things that they do. There's so much things that they deny themselves of so that we can be better people, better, productive members of society. There's so much things to this day. You said it just now, Kerry, that you're an adult with your own family, with your own life. And if you call on her anywhere she's gonna get it from, she's gonna get it. And it's the same thing with my mom. I know it's the same thing with you, with your mom as well, with your mom Sanishi. And my mother just went through 2 heart attacks the other day, and she called me last week, said, son, I'm just so worried about you. You're pressured, you're working hard, and she's worrying about me, and she has her own health problems dealing with. Sacrifice.
Yeah, I was just thinking the same thing as well with my mom, Dolores Bryson. With her, no matter where she is, if I'm going through something, no matter where she is, if I'm going through something, she is going to stop and pray. She could be taking the bus. She could be in a taxi. She could be at work. If I say, Mommy, I need you,
Yeah.
she's all the way in Jamaica, but if I say, Mommy, I need you, can you pray for me? She's going to pray. She's not going to say, yeah, that's her
What does she
thing.
say? That's glory to
Glory to God.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. She's not going to say, you know, I'll call you back later, or
Yes.
let me pray for you later, okay? She's going to stop and pray for me, and that is something I appreciate. Sometimes I think that my mother sees abilities in me that I don't see. So if I am feeling insecure about something, whether it's on the job or at home, she's always the one to say, no, man, but you can do it. I know you can do it, you know?
Yes,
But
yes.
I don't see myself, but she does.
Exactly,
And that is
exactly.
encouragement for me.
And if Sunny actually do it, she'll be like, I told you, I told you. again."
Yeah. There are cheerleaders, and that's what we have to be for our kids. We have to be their cheerleaders, because being a mom is it's so much fun, and I think my kids are literal stalkers on me. Like, if I turn, one is here, if I turn, the other one is there. I cannot breathe, and my children are not there. And as much as I'll be like, give me some break, I secretly love it, because that means they love me more than they love their dad. And but it is truly a blessing. It is a blessing being a mother. We know it's not always easy, and whichever way that someone becomes a mother, we know that with love, I don't know, God just give us something to just, you know, that love that we have to give to these children or child or whatever the case may be. So, you know, we know that it's not always easy to become a mom or to get to that place because a lot of people do struggle.
Yeah.
And, you know, you end up becoming the best aunties that you can be, or, you know, or whatever the case may be. But it is truly a shout out to women that are doing it and doing it well. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, we love our moms. I love being a mother. I really do. I might not have started off at the beginning, but I love being a mother. I don't like the fact that people think that my kids look more like their dad than than they do me. But, you know, thank God I married a handsome fella. What was that?
I was saying, because they don't look like you doesn't make you any less a mother. It just allows for them to take a little bit of me. But anyhow, but no, I have to back Lennox up on that sacrifice piece. I think women show such strength in their sacrifice, whether it's through denying themselves during pregnancy or in the delivery process, which is just, you know, an amazing
Mind-blowing.
process. But the strength that they show, and then the connection with the child throughout, from you know, toddler to adulthood, it just shows you how strong a bond women can have with children. And I think on this platform and out there in YouTube land, I know there are a lot of strong women out there, and we just big you up and ask and know that you are doing a great job, no matter what your focus is.
At this time, Mr. Lennox.
And so, I want to just give a heartfelt tribute
Okay.
to all the mothers out there viewing Unfiltered, all the mothers right now that are currently working. Maybe you're working 2 jobs, maybe you're working 1 just to provide for the household. We just want to say thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking right now into that camera and I'm saying thank you.
Yeah.
I'm looking across this stage to you, Carrie, to you, Karine, to you, Sanishi. And we just want to say thank you. Your sacrifices, your dedication, your hard work, your love, your dreams for us, your aspirations for us. We honor you. We say thank you. To our mothers here on Unfiltered, we say thank you. Go ahead, Cameron. Go ahead. We love you, Mom. We love you, mothers. We love you for all that you do. Give it to Mommy LJ. Thank you for all that you do. We say thank you. And particularly, we stop right now to honor a very special mother to us. Our First Lady, our spiritual mother, the Honorable, the lovely Mrs. First Lady K. Smith. We love you. We love you right now. We know that you're somewhere in the Middle East, Israel. You are watching us. We salute you. We say thank you for sharing your life with us. We say thank you for always giving a word of encouragement. We say thank you for always patting us on the back and telling us that we can do it. We say thank you, Lady Smith, for who you are, for your love, your dedication, not only to the ministry, but to us individually. We know how genuine you are to us. It shows. You know each and every one of us by name. Lady Smith, Lady Karine Smith, we love you and we salute you. God bless you.
Happy Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day.
Happy
Goodbye.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day.
Have
Happy
a
Mother's
great
Day.
day to all the wonderful mothers out there.
Happy Mother's Day to you. Happy Mother's Day to you. But goodbye and thank you for joining us on Unfiltered. See you next time.